Effective conversations are imperative for most success. Think of a problem you've had recently in real estate. How would things have turned out different if the conversations surrounding the issue had changed? Experts say that more than 90% of all success in business is based in some form of communication. And when you consider the average agent spends almost one half of their work week in some form of communication, well, it begs the question, shouldn't you do everything you can to have better conversations? Now that you've practiced the greeting, let's talk about how to have conversations past that. How to talk and how to listen. We want those we meet walking away feeling engaged and uplifted after talking with us. A great conversation is one that builds rapport, where both people feel validated and where there's a balance of talking and listening. Because of modern technology, things like instant messaging and email on our phones, we've created streams of communication that many times feel like people soundbiting back and forth. A conversation is an opportunity to go beyond these short replies and talk about subjects that can lead to deeper connection. Meaningful conversations play an important role in building long-term relationships with your real estate clients, especially at the luxury level. The luxury consumer is surrounded by professionals who are great communicators, and that is the standard they're accustomed to. The good news is the luxury client is usually interesting and accomplished, and most likely an expert in something. Getting them comfortable with you and letting them talk is one of the best ways to find out what that expertise is and what their underlying passions are. Approach any conversation assuming that you will always learn something new. Focus on the act of simply listening, learning, and retaining. You see, the more you listen, the more the other person will talk. The more they talk, the more they open up about aspirations and desires. Never talk more than 50% of the time, and less is usually better. Many of the surveyed luxury agents commented that the most empowering conversations are when the client talks 75% or more of the time. Here are 10 practices for a perfect conversation. Number 1, let the other person stay in control. This means don't interject, talk over, or overimpose your opinion. If you remember an interesting story or some other thought comes into your mind, many times it's best to let it go, as opposed to interrupting the other person's train of thought or deviating from their flow. Number 2, the conversation is not about you. Refrain from talking about yourself, your accomplishments, your sales history, the last deal you rescued from life support. Unless you've been specifically asked a question, conversations should not be used for your promotional opportunities. Any conversation with a client is about them and their outcome, what they are hoping to accomplish and what you can do to help them get there. Number 3, be present. This means be engaged, attentive, and in the moment. Remember the story of the luxury agent in Beverly Hills with her flawless greeting? How would that experience have been different if when I walked up to her, she was looking at her phone or fumbling through her purse while half-heartedly trying to talk to me? It would not have been the same. When the other person talks, make it known that they are important. To be better communicators, we need to make sure we are listening with the intent to understand, not just the intent to reply. And if you're not listening, you are not connecting. If you're not connecting, you'll never serve the other person in the way they need to be served. Number 4, dignified disruptions. If you are in a situation where the conversation is disrupted, make the announcement that you would like the other person to pick up right where they left off. If you need to look at your phone during a conversation, let the other person know what you are doing. Say, "Excuse me, let me look for that picture while we keep talking." Or, "Let me respond to my daughter's text real quick." Never be half in and half out of a conversation. Be in that moment and not consumed with what you're going to say next or what you should have said 30 seconds ago. Number 5, avoid narrow-minded thinking. This means be careful not to express any advice in a way that sounds restrictive. For example, "Mr. Seller, I'll never let anyone onto your property without a written verification of their financial position." Well, that might be true until Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, or LeBron James pull up with their entourage and want to see the listing. You see, the luxury consumer is sophisticated, and they know there are exceptions to almost every rule. So being overly set in your ways may not be received well. Number 6, ask open-ended questions. These are the who, what, how, and where questions. A closed-ended question goes like this: Mrs. Buyer, do you like homes on golf courses? This will produce a yes, no, or maybe response. An open-ended question would be, Mrs. Buyer, where do you see yourself living? The answer to this question varies from person to person and can only be answered with a unique perspective. Well, we picture ourselves in a single-level brick home with a large patio on a golf course. You see, open-ended questions prompt longer, more detailed responses, ones that are more beneficial to both parties. Number 7, don't be scared to say, I don't know. If there's something you don't know, say so. You do not have to be the expert in all things luxury real estate. You do, however, need to know where to find the answers, and when you find them, don't forget what you learned. Keep it stored in that knowledge base between your ears for the next time someone asks. Number 8, try not to repeat yourself. If you have a point to make, use the rule of 2, which means say it twice and that's it. This is something many agents do without even knowing it. They repeat themselves over and over. Saying it once, rephrasing it 2 sentences later, and then saying it again at the wrap-up. Repeating something more than twice, especially to an executive, can sound condescending. Number 9, get to the point. The fewer words to make your point, the better. It's frustrating when someone asks a question and something that could have been answered in 6 words takes 60 seconds. Again, being brief and concise in responses is viewed as a sign of intelligence. Number 10, match the other person. This is one of the classics. This is more than if they talk slow, you talk slow. It means if they're comfortable with long, silent pauses during the conversation, then you be as well. There can be immense power in the pause. And power of silence. If they like it that way and are comfortable, then so should you. If they have high energy, then so should you. If they're more reserved, then you should be more reserved. A classic customer service training is called Tell Them, Don't Ask Them. This means when talking to a client, use a power word that lets the person know they have authority. For example, instead of saying, do you want me to lock the door? You would say, tell me if you want the door locked. Now I know this is a really small nuance, but it works very well. Tell me how you would like to look at homes. Tell me how I can best get that information to you. Tell me what time you'd like to meet up tomorrow. This is the influential conversation for this training. It's a short one. Yet keep in mind, it's very powerful and it works in a multitude of situations. It starts with an empowering call to action and then makes an offer to serve. The influential conversation is, tell me what I can do to best assist you. Let's say a listing client calls and says that they will be leaving town next week. Tell me, what can I do to best assist you? Your buyer client calls last minute and says they will not make the showing. Tell me, what can I do to best assist you? A lady at an open house says she's looking for a certain home in a certain school district. Tell me what I can do to best assist you. It's a unique response, not what others are used to hearing. However, they will respond to it. Most people are accustomed to real estate agents spouting an opinion or giving advice on how to correct the issue at hand. This influential conversation immediately makes the other person feel in control and provides the one asking the question with a more direct response. Once again, tell me, what can I do to best assist you? Effective communication is a skill that is applicable far beyond working with your real estate clients. It's universal to everyone you interact with and will benefit you for the rest of your life. You should make every effort to always be improving your communication skills. It's the backbone of this program and will be instrumental in your overall success in luxury real estate. Let's do this.